Welcome to the Blue Box Podcast. I'm your host, Lil Herm, and around here, we analyze, critique, and explore the artistic vision that shapes album covers, whether it be from the bold and extravagant or to the minimal and subtle. Our goal? To uncover what makes these visuals iconic and how they've influenced culture, not just through mainstream rappers and entertainers, but also by upcoming and rising artists. So, open the box, step inside, and let's break down the art behind the sound, one cover at a time. You're listening to the Blue Box Podcast. What's cracking with you, ABE fam? Show us a blessing to be back in the Blue Box as we critique a succession. Here, we critique, comment, compare, contextualize, contemplate, classify, and curate album covers. I'm your captain of these 7 C's, Lil Herm, steering you through the ways of color, composition, and cover design. This is where we break down the art behind the sound, one cover at a time. So anchors up and let's get into it. Briefly recapping on last episode, we looked at Mozzie's Yellow Tape Activities album and uncovered the cold message of the streets that the cover told. In this episode, we're going to dial it all the way down, but first, I want to dedicate this episode to my younger sister. It was her birthday on the 1st of the month, so I told her she could go ahead and pick this episode's album cover. So I love you, sis, and this one's for you. So without further ado, let's get into the cover of today, which is Vessel by 21 Pilots. Before we get into it though, you know we gotta do a little bit of history on our artists. 21 Pilots is currently a 2-man band, producing a blend of alternative, hip-hop, pop, rock, and electronic genres of music. Their music is often emotional with dark lyrical themes. Its members are Tyler Joseph, who's the frontman, and Josh Dunn, but it didn't start out that way. The band originally formed in 2009 out of Columbus, Ohio, but was made up of 3 people instead. Originally, it was Tyler Joseph, Nick Thomas, and Chris Salih, all of whom were high school friends. Later in 2011, Nick and Chris left the band and were replaced by Josh Dunn, who was recruited in 2011 as well. He was recruited as the drummer. As far as the name of the band, it was inspired by a play called Oh My Sons by Arthur Miller. Apparently in that play, there was a theme of moral dilemma, which resulted in the death literally of 21 pilots, hence the name. As their band grew in recognition, they started getting attention from major record labels. They went on to sign with Fueled by Ramen in 2012. Later in 2013 is when they had their major album debut and dropped Vessel. Later on in 2017, they won their first Grammy for Best Pop Duo and Group Performance. Apparently, 21 Pilots is also the very first band to have every song on 2 albums to achieve gold or platinum certification by the RIAA. These 2 albums were Vessel and Blurry Face. Prior to researching 21 Pilots, I've never heard of the RIAA. Upon research, I found that it stands for Recording Industry Association of America. Apparently they play a major role in the music industry. They award gold, platinum, or diamond certifications to albums and singles based on streaming numbers. They fight music piracy, protect copyrights, and provide data and research on music trends. And they also represent the interests of major record labels. So now that we got a little bit of history on 21 Pilots, let's jump into the breakdown of the Vessel album cover. Off the bat, the cover doesn't really appeal to me, mainly because it's a little too simple. However, I do acknowledge and recognize the futuristic and modern vibes that it gives. It's futuristic because of the excessive uses of the whites and the light grays. It's also modern because of the cleanliness and the simplicity of the album cover. The use of the white background could represent mental blankness, isolation, or clarity, just depending upon the person who's interpreting the album cover. I personally lead more towards blankness and isolation, but what do y'all think? Initially, I thought that the two older men were supposed to be aged versions of themselves, but upon research on this cover, I learned that the older men on the cover are actually their grandfathers. The grandfather on the right is the grandpa of Tyler Joseph, and the grandfather on the left is of Josh Dunn. Immediately off the back, you can see a contrast. The music by 21 Pilots is a youthful and young type of music, and the contrast comes in because you got older people on the cover. In my opinion, there's a message here that even as Tyler and Josh age, they'll always have and keep that youthful spirit alive. One thing we can observe about the fact that they're using their real grandparents or grandfathers is that it shows authenticity, vulnerability, and sentimental value. Another observation that may or may not be true is that their grandfathers may symbolize the listener's family as well, which kind of creates a bridge between young fans and their elders, which invites listeners to reflect on where they come from and where they're going. Upon my research on the Vessel album, I came across an interview with Tyler and Josh. I'll throw the link in the description to the interview, but Tyler goes into the description for the name of the album. He says, "When I think of the word vessel, I think of something that's carrying something much more important than itself." He also goes on to say that their vessels, referring to their grandfathers, are wearing out. What they carried inside of them is much more important than the reason to live. Taking a look at that quote by Tyler, I think he using a metaphor for the human body, basically saying that our physical forms are vessels and eventually we wear out. But what truly matters is what we carry inside, our soul, our spirit, and our purpose. To him, that internal essence is far more important than just existing or staying alive. It's about why we live. This point is also backed by the fact that Tyler and Josh said that they still want to be able to play music even when they're as old as their grandfathers, if they still can. That just about wraps up today's episode. I know it was kind of shorter than usual, but that's because Vessel, while introspective, is intentionally plain and simple. It's not packed with obvious symbolism, but it quietly speaks volumes through minimalism and emotion, something you gotta actually look for and think about. Now it's y'all turn. What do you see when you look at the album cover? And what do their grandfathers represent or symbolize to you? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, hit me up on the socials, or even send me an email with your take. I'd like to peep how Vessel speaks to you visually. If y'all are really messing with me and are enjoying these little album art breakdowns, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share. I've got a whole infinite bag of covers to unpack. This has been another episode of the Blue Box Podcast, where we break down the art behind the sound, one cover at a time.